And we're live.
Hey, y'all.
Welcome, all you sexy Chris's. Apparently, there's a bunch in there. If you don't know what that means, then you missed Texas Toast Guitar's live stream tonight. And he does like a handoff thing. If you ever want to know about how to build guitars, that's a pretty fun live stream. So let's, we're going to answer some questions from Patreon tonight. And we're going to talk about gateway guitars. Like, because I've been thinking about this whole expensive guitar versus cheap guitar thing. And to put it in a more constructive fashion, like thinking about aspiring and beginning guitars and the next guitar and the next guitar, like, we're going to chat about it.
I'm just saying hey to folks in the comments.
Awesome.
I said hello to Mr. Goat and Girl Cat, and he just said Girl Cat says hi. So, like,
nice.
Not him.
Not him.
But just Girl Cat.
Right on. I see Bard is in the comments from Australia. She's waiting for her first.
Yeah.
She's waiting for an Epiphone.
But she's not flooded, so that's awesome.
But that is good. Yeah. So, let's get started. This is our weekly live stream.
Gary here. I haven't seen him in a while.
Awesome.
Ivan, Roy Custom Work. I feel like I haven't seen that name before. Hello.
Nope. Welcome.
Jeffrey Egan, Silver Bushman, Robert Hastings. Doc is here. Mr. Goat, Bard. Who else?
Awesome. 38 people
Eddie
so far.
Quinones.
Excellent.
Sweet. So welcome, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks
for
man.
being here.
So, for those of you that are not familiar, this is a guitar channel. We talk all about guitar stuff, and the live stream is Q&A. So, we do prioritize some stuff that came in through Patreon over the last week. So, if you're a Patreon member, you get to ask a question ahead of time, and we put it up on the screen. Also, if you're a Patreon member, you get early access to all of our, most of our videos, and you get bonus episodes to all of the podcasts on the podcast YouTube channel because it's a separate channel, but I didn't want to start another Patreon for it. So you get all the things for $5. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna chat about some fun stuff, and then I want to talk about this gateway guitar thing because Bard is an excellent example. She's in Australia.
Okay.
She has limited access to guitars because she's like in Australia and everything is far, right? And it's especially far. Talking like I'm in kindergarten. It's especially far from where Gibsons are made, for example, and Fenders and all the guitars that we kind of dream of having are harder for her to get. So I know what she's got coming. She's got an Inspired by Gibson.
That's interesting. Why'd you get oops? We have to see what she said.
I will. We got she's getting an Inspired by Gibson Epiphone Les Paul Special with P90s in it.
Okay.
So I think that guitar in this country is in the $500 to $800 range, something like that.
Okay.
And it's really cool. It's a really cool guitar, and there's nothing wrong with it. But I think a lot of times people overlook that stuff because they just focus on being mad about Gibsons being so expensive. But I think guitar companies, to understand how guitar companies work and how they market things, once you understand that, it makes a lot of sense. And you're not actually giving up anything. So that's what we're going to chat about after we go through some of these Patreon questions. So let's do that right now.
There's no intro music, so you gave a strong lead in. Vincent wants to know, what would 2 single coils put really close together sound like, instead of a humbucker where the magnet is shared?
That's a really cool question. So it would sound like a humbucker if they were, one was north facing and one was south facing. So what I mean by that is, here, hang on, I have some bobbins. The two single coils would have to be like this, but this magnet would have to be negative and this magnet north, and this magnet would have to be south. And then they would have to be wired like a humbucker, but then they would sound pretty much like a humbucker. What's very interesting is, because of how the nodes, antinodes thing works, as you pull them apart, like distance further apart, they'll sound less like a humbucker, but they will still sound like sort of like a humbucker. That's why like a tele pickup and is about like this far apart. But if you put it in series, it still kind of sounds like a humbucker. But the closer you move them together, the more it will sound like a humbucker.
So what if you wound them as single coils, though? Could they function that close together?
Yes. So what you would do is you would magnetize them opposite of each other. Then you would wind the coils the same direction. And then you would hook up the finishes. You would hook it up exactly like you would hook up a humbucker. Just the two coils in a humbucker, but only with two single coils. The only difference would be you just have to make sure that the magnets were opposite of each other. And the wind direction would have to be the same direction. It's kind of a thing you would sort of have to plan for, if that makes sense. Or at least to make sure that the pickups you're using are configured together properly to work. But that's cool. That's a very cool thing to do. I dig that. I have done that.
Joe. Interesting thumbnail, since I came here to ask you if you happen to notice the moon swatch thing that Swatch and Omega did. I found it fascinating on many fronts. Brilliant marketing, cool tie-in with your brands, desirable products, and a gateway product for those that don't even know the Omega brand and those that love the Speedy but can't afford it. I immediately thought of the guitar world and the constant bitching both up market and down market, and was surprised to see that these watches have been mostly positively received. I've seen little griping from the snobs, or maybe I'm just really good at tuning them out. LOL.
So this is a really good, we probably should have put this question out of order because we're going to come back to this. What he's referring to is you can buy a Swatch for about, we're talking watches. You can buy a Swatch for, I don't know, $200 to $400 maybe, depending on which one you get. Like, you could probably get them cheaper. You could find one at TJ Maxx or something. But you could usually get a Swatch for, okay, we'll call it $250, right? Omegas, I mean, I have been shopping for them, and a good used one is $6,000. And like a Speedmaster is close to 20. Like, they're expensive. And not everybody can afford an Omega. Like, that's what I want. I want an Omega, and I know I can't afford it. But what they did is they collaborated, and they came out with a watch that was $260. So it's probably a Swatch. It's, guts. It's probably a Seiko movement. It's probably not an automatic. I don't know much about it, but I do know that those are the things that you would give up. So it would be like the Epiphone of watches. But it would still have that Omega association. And I think that's very, very cool. For some reason, and he's right, guitar players can't seem to get over that enough. And just want to, like he said, bitch about why expensive guitars are too expensive. So we're going to talk about this some more. This is really good. I should have put that last and used it as my segue, but I'm trying to not look at these ahead of time as much so that we can have more fun and be more spontaneous.
So Wallace Shekels just said, hey, sorry I'm late. Hashtag sexy, hashtag Chris. And it struck me funny, like, is he not willing to put them together? Like, he's not going to say sexy Chris, so he made it 2 hashtags. But then he came back and said hashtag sexy Chris. So, welcome. Now we know you're from Texas Toast tonight. All right.
Thank you.
Next question, Charles. What is needed to start recording one's own music?
Not much. You can get an interface for $100, probably, that will plug into an iPad or whatever laptop you have. And if you're an Apple person, GarageBand is free. There are also a bunch of other DAWs that are free, and you could get started very, very quickly. It just depends what you want to record. My personal preference would be buying a Focusrite 2i2. It's USB bus powered. I don't think it needs any extra power supply. It's 2 inputs, so you can put a mic and a guitar, and you go straight into a computer. And it comes with a DAW in the box, like downloadable. And it's probably under $200 still, right around $189-ish or something, right around there. I have the 18i8, which is the big version of that same one, but it's got the same preamps in it and stuff, and it's very good. That's where I would start, is a Focusrite.
Cool. And then Shane.
What's up, Shane?
On your recent podcast, the boutique builder mentioned guitars being part of a, quote, batch of 10 or so. I remember my own luthier saying my custom guitar was part of a, quote, batch. What exactly is a batch, and what is the thinking behind making customs in this way?
Because it saves a lot of time. Anytime you can duplicate a motion, it's easier to do that motion. So setting up to do one thing and then tearing down and then doing another thing takes a lot of time. I'll give you an example. So like right now, I have 24 strap bobbins over here. Like literally there's
Noisy.
yeah. So I literally have like all these strap bobbins over here. I will sit down at the winder and I will get everything set up, and I will grab one, I'll do it, I'll set it aside, I'll grab the next one, I'll do it, I'll set it aside. Now, if I was going to do 2 single coils and then go wind some P90s and then go wind some humbuckers, it would take longer to do all the things if you were to just batch it together. Guitars are the same way. Texas Toast, for example, will cut like 10 neck blanks at the same time because all the tooling is ready, everything is there, and then it's just... So, yes, batching is definitely the way to go because you're just not setting up multiple times. And then you're, because you have to check everything, right? So, like the tolerances, for me, it's the width on the winder, like the traverse, and where I put the spool on the floor. And, like, once that's all really set and everything's smooth, I don't want to touch it. I just want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. And guitars are the same way, for sure. Jigging up and just going is the easiest way.
Yeah. Just bundling tasks, basically.
Yes. Stopping and starting and changing over is really time consuming. Honestly,
for your mind, too.
Oh, yeah, because once you break concentration or routine on what you're doing, especially like pickups, for example, when you're trying to make sure that, well, all 75, 74, however many there are, it's 24 sets times 3. Because it's strats, so there's 3 pickups in each guitar. But I want all the neck pickups to sound the same. So for me to stop and start and stop and start and stop and start would make that much more difficult. All the middles, all the bridges, they all need to sound the same. Same thing with the guitar. If you're shaping necks, if you're profiling fretboards, all those things, you want them to be consistent. So doing more of them at once. And it's just cheaper and easier and faster. Less stressful. Yeah, that's a good question. That's fun.
That was all the Patreon questions.
Cool. Excellent.
What's next? We do have... So before, I feel like... so you wanted to talk about the watch thing and that how it tied into your topic.
Yes.
But, so another comment about that. Jammin' Shaman... I didn't even know this was a thing, and I hate that I'm even saying this out loud because I feel like this is something you're going to want to know about. I'm in the high horological community and own an actual Omega Speedmaster numbered edition Moon to Mars, and I compare the Moon Swatch to the Silver Sky. Everyone bitched at first, now everyone owns one. But I didn't know there was a community.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know about this one?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, yes. I do.
Well, you have something.
I do.
All right.
I do, and it's one of those things, I have to buy guitars for work. Otherwise, all the money that I spent this year would probably be spent on watches instead. But it's, because let's face it, a Silver Sky, a Gibson. Is my Gibson up there? Yeah. A Silver Sky, a Gibson, and I don't know. I could actually probably sell all these guitars right here and buy a used Omega Speedmaster. But it would be, a lot of money. And wouldn't be a tax write-off. And it wouldn't make as good of guitar videos since it's not a guitar. So that's why we don't do it.
So a couple questions related to questions before we move on.
Okay.
Jeffrey Egan says, how would you add video to the recording? Just plug the camera into the PC?
No. So it depends how you want to do it. What I do for the podcasts is I have a piece of software, the one that we're using right now. It's called Ecamm Live. It's a monthly subscription, but because we do these every week, it's worth it. It's like $40 a month. And yes, I have a USB interface through a Elgato Cam Link that goes into the computer. And we use the audio and the video from this right here and record. And this is what we do. And this is how I do the podcasts too. I just use a different microphone with the podcasts. Theoretically, you could do the same thing with a guitar. The way I do all the other videos, like the video that's going to come out on Saturday about the Kramer, that one I record into an interface. The Line 6 Catalyst 100 is plugged directly into the computer, and then I use GarageBand to record that. And then I record my voice talking on the camera separately, and then I align them video editing. So that takes a lot more work, but it's really high quality. That's how it works so well. So there's a couple different ways to do it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about your topic? Do you want to keep answering questions?
I want to talk about this topic, and then we can probably sprinkle some more in there because there's probably going to be some conversation about this. And if you use a super chat, I'll stop what I'm doing and we'll just answer your question right away. What got me thinking about this whole thing was obviously last week's topic about expensive guitars and people like saying the guitars are too expensive, etc. And I just don't think they are. Guitars are not too expensive. But people are wanting the wrong guitars for their needs and budget. That's really the only problem. But what I think is very interesting is, what really got me thinking about it today was shooting the video with this Kramer. So this Kramer is under $1,000, which is still not a small amount of money. But Gibson owns this brand. And in the past, you could criticize a brand like Gibson and say they're putting their fingers in too many pies and they're going to do all the dumb things they did before and etc. But they're not. They have the Kramer brand, and it's really cool because when you walk into a Gibson dealer and they carry a Kramer and you can buy a Beretta now, the entry-level Beretta is $200. I almost bought one last week. I was over at Portman's and I was like, wait, this guitar is pink and it has a humbucker and it's cool for $200. Like, wow. So now you're in a Gibson dealer. You've got this guitar that you could buy as a student for $200. And then as you aspire to buy a better guitar because you have a poster of Jimmy Page or whoever on your wall, then you end up buying a Epiphone Les Paul, but the special one that's only like $500. Then maybe there's the inspired by Gibson one that's somewhere around $800. And then there's, or this guitar that's $1,000. And then eventually, maybe you buy a used Les Paul for, $1,800 or whatever. And then you buy a brand new one. And then you're there. But it takes I've never owned a brand new Les Paul. I'm gonna. But it takes a while. And you have to save up and learn about guitars and decide what you like. Is that even really what you want? All these kind of things. But these brands are structured in such a way for that to work. And I just love that they are. When we were building guitars, our guitars were between $1,500 and $2,500. And I always said that I wanted to be an entry-level custom-built guitar. Not an $8,500 John Cruz or something. But let's say you had an American Standard Telly that you bought used for, $1,100 or whatever, or $1,000. And that was your guitar. That might be your second or third guitar, but your fourth guitar was mine, $15,000 to $2,000. I didn't want to be the first one. I didn't want to be beginner guitar, but I also didn't want to be an unobtainium either. And I think every brand structures their guitars to serve all the needs, every need from the bottom $200 guitar all the way up to unobtainium $25,000 PRS private stocks and $40,000 Stratocasters Telecasters that look like a violin, and everywhere in between. And each of those price points, attainable by different budgets and abilities, is served in each of these large brands. So the Gibsons, you have the Kramer, the Epiphone, and then you have the Gibsons with no binding, the entry level ones. And then you have, not the entry-level ones, but the lower-priced Gibson with no binding. What's that called? I can't remember. Faded or whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Where it's not shiny. It's now on the Strat side, the Tele side, the Fender side, you have the Affinity stuff and the CV stuff and the Mexico stuff and a few different Mexico things. And then you have the American things. And then you have the team-built custom shop. And you have the custom shop, the $10,000 ones. And I just think it's so cool that every brand, PRS has the SE line, then they have the S2 line, which is made in the United States, and then they have the regular PRS stuff, and then they have the core stuff, and then they have the private stock stuff. So it's serving every need. So what I can't figure out, well, I can figure out, but it's just mean to talk about it, is why guitar players are always so unhappy with how expensive guitars are. Because there is a guitar for every need, and there is a guitar for every budget, from $200 all the way up to unobtainium. There is one. But the problem is that guitars are one of those places where people feel that they are entitled to the best one, no matter what they are willing to spend money on or think they can afford. We don't do it with cars. We don't do it with watches. We don't do it with anything else. You just buy what you can afford. If you need a new car and you can't afford a Bugatti Veyron, but you want a Volkswagen family vehicle in the Volkswagen family, Volkswagen AG, then you buy a Golf. It has the same window switches as a Veyron. It's if you can't buy a 911, you buy a Cayman. If you can't buy a Cayman, you buy a Golf R32. If you can't buy a Golf R32, then you buy a GTI. If you can't buy a GTI, you buy a regular Golf with cranky uppy windows. It's all in the same family. You aspire to the next thing. You put the 911 on your wall or whatever the hero car for you is. Same thing with watches. Same thing with everything else in life is like that. But for some reason with guitars, people will just be like, Gibsons are so expensive. Well, they are. But there's a reason for that. Maybe you're not a Gibson person. Maybe you're an Epiphone. Oh, I could never see myself playing one of those in front of people. Well, that is just your ego. The end. Like, understanding marketing and also understanding how each of these companies place each product will also help you to make better choices, because a lot of people will say this gear is bad. I'm getting a lot of it right now because of the Line 6 Catalyst, because people think it's a Line 6 Spider and it's not. The Line 6 Spider is for a beginning guitar player who can't afford much. It's great for him. This is not that. This is something else. Like, everything has its place in the market, and understanding what the product is for, who it's intended for, is 100% going to keep you happier with your purchases. And be proud of whatever you have and whatever you play, because, I mean, I can't afford a real Les Paul right now. Like, lots of people can't. Like, it's okay to play an Epiphone. Like, don't worry. It's okay to play a Squire. Don't be a peghead snob. Like, just don't. You will serve your creativity much better worrying about what you're playing more than what you're playing. You know what I mean? So, anyway, that's my little rant about that. And I hope it's more positive. I just want people to think about all the different things that are available and be like, well, this is where I am. And this is where I'm aspiring to be. And like, really think of it as a positive thing instead of every freaking guitar is too expensive these days. Because they're not. I wouldn't build a guitar for under $2,000. If we started building guitars right now, my guitars would start at $2,500. I would not build a guitar for under $2,000. There is no way. It's just too much work. Yep. Cool. Question.
We can take some questions related to this topic.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
First of all, people said the order special tribute studio standard custom.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Jeffrey Egan, not really related. Kind of related. Is Kramer really a gateway guitar? I think of them as 80s shred guitars.
What I mean by that is you can buy one for $200. You could buy one for your kid for $200, and it's not a telly. It rocks. It's like a rock guitar, and it's different than a telly. And what it does is it gets you into the Gibson dealership, and it gets you in the Gibson kind of atmosphere, ecosphere, whatever you want to call it. Like, you know, yeah, like it gets you in to the ecosystem of Gibson. And then we'll continue to go up from there. Which, the reason I'm saying that is I feel like until the Kramer stuff came along, Gibson did not really have a good brand that was that gateway guitar at the $200, $300 price point. Because let's face it, the bolt-on Epiphones aren't very good. They're just not very good. But these are. They are very good. And so just to get you in the family, I think it's really cool.
And then there's some conversation about, the value of money today compared to previously. Mm-hmm. So Sassy Cat shared, and I don't know where this fact comes from, but $900 in 1979 is worth $3,517.14 in today's money.
What was the first number?
900 to 3,500.
I mean, and what was the original Les Paul? Was $240, which puts it today's money, like the 59 Les Paul, that is worth $750,000 or $500,000, was somewhere in the $230 range, and with inflation today, it's pretty much right exactly where it's priced right now, like $2,600. So, I mean, with inflation, as sucky as inflation is, because it's on our minds right now because it's bad, it does realistically put those numbers into perspective.
We have a super chat from Matthew Perkins. Thank you for the super chat, Matthew. He says the Kramer to Gibson pipeline.
That's the way I really felt that when I got this guitar and played it. And I'm like, and here's the thing. When the video comes out on Saturday, that thing is good. I mean, really good. Like, really good. Nothing wrong with it. Need to set the intonation on it a little bit tighter. But the frets were great. The quality of the finish was great. Everything about it was great. Everything about it.
All right. And another super chat from Lantertronics, Aaron Lanterman.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you for the super chat. Guitars are strongly subject to the law of diminishing returns. The difference between a $1,300 and a $2,300 guitar is much, much smaller than the difference between a $300 guitar and a $1,300 guitar.
Yes. It would be an interesting, I think we have another super chat in there, but it would be an interesting thing to get your thoughts in the comments on what you think, because this is different for everybody and it's not just budget. It's not just, I'm not talking about how much you can afford, but what you're willing to invest into the hobby, what you might have some other cool thing like that you put all your money into. And, so guitars are cool, but they're not as cool as this other thing you're into. You know what I mean? We all kind of have that. So what is because this will be different for everybody, and I respect everybody's answer for different reasons for sure. What is your diminishing returns number where you say, if I had all the money in the world in my checking account right now and I could buy whatever guitar I want, where's your line for saying if it's more expensive than this, it's probably just not really worth it to me? You know what I mean? My experience with guitars that I've had in my hand has been, unless it's like a Fender Custom Shop really cool relic thing or some kind of really one-of-a-kind thing. But as far as like just expensive guitars go, my number is $3,500. I feel like anything over $3,500, it just becomes, do you like the color after that? Like, I don't think they just get that much better. McPherson could probably make me a liar on that because I would pay whatever it costs to buy a McPherson if I had it. Probably 10 grand. But even then, if you played a $10,000 McPherson next to a $4,000 Martin HD28, could I justify the extra $6 grand? Probably not. Like, it's an interesting thing.
All right.
Super chat we missed in there.
Yeah. So Sassy Cat was clarifying that they started with the $900 because that's what an LP custom cost in '79.
Oh,
so
right
that's
on.
why they started with that number. All right. So super chat from Scrap Iron 22. Thank you for the super chat. Will you build a tele control plate with a kill switch for me?
Not right now. I am, at the moment, saying no to all wacky custom stuff. We will build regular pickguard builds. We will do regular tele control plates, that kind of stuff. But if it requires ordering parts that I don't have in stock right now, we are putting that off for probably 2 months. Now, I'm not saying I won't do it.
Because we would put you off anyway.
Yes.
Because it can't be fulfilled right now.
Yeah, we are so slammed. We're on a 4-week turnaround right now, and we are so slammed. that I would just have to bump anything custom to the bottom of the list. And I just don't want to. I'd rather tell you no right now than make you wait a ridiculously amount of time.
So it's keep your money until we're able to
Exactly, yes. I would say it's going to be June before we do anything crazy like that. That's one of the reasons why we're holding off on the Silver Sky single hum kits. That's why we're holding off on some stuff right now because we're just so busy. It's ridiculous right now.
So the answer is not no, but it's not right now.
Not right now. Yes. Thank you for asking. And we put 4 weeks on the website. I don't think it's going to be necessarily 4 weeks for everybody, but all the time. But right now, I just want to be super honest about that. So I appreciate it.
I feel like this must be a sticker. It is. So Thomas Torville, thank you for the super chat. It says, this is how it comes across through me because of this interface software. So it literally says, lemon character lifting baby lemon in the air to congratulate him. And I was like,
okay,
what is he talking about? But it is literally, it's an animated sticker.
Thank you. Which is available to people that are YouTube members and super sticker people. Thank you. I guess you can do a super sticker on any kind of super chat. I didn't know we had that feature. Which reminds me, this comment reminds me, get your kids and your iPhone and go in your car and put a bunch of, because your kids will laugh,
You will laugh.
You will laugh so hard until you probably wet yourself. Put your Apple CarPlay on if you have it, and have your kids type a bunch of emojis to you, and then make the car read the emojis to you. So what I mean is, have your kid sit in the back seat and have him put whatever he's going to use, smiling pile of poo. And he's going to put all the poop emojis, and then he's going to text it to you, and then your car is going to read the emojis to you. It's hilarious. We did it with the kids one time. We accidentally found this out, and we laughed for literally a half an hour. And it literally will say, a smiling pile of poo, a smiling pile of poo, a smiling pile of poo, like however many there are. Super funny. Anyway.
More funny.
Tangential, but funny.
That the cadence changes. So about the time you think, oh, we're in this rhythm.
Smiling pile of poo. Smiling pile of poo.
Yes. It is hilarious.
It's really funny.
We might have a video somewhere.
There's a video on YouTube, I'm pretty sure of it. It's super funny. It's really funny. Anyway, if you have kids especially, and I know they like poop emojis, you got to go do it. It's not just that one though. It's all of them. They're hilarious. Oh man, so funny. You want to answer some more questions?
No, I can read them to you. I'm not going to be answering the questions.
Oh, you don't want to answer them?
No.
We could flip this around.
They would be very disappointed in my answers. So Thomas Torville sent that because he said, have a drink on me.
Thank you.
So I was literally wondering if you had a question. I was looking for it.
We're actually drinking, both of us tonight are drinking some, this is Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Who is it? Atlanta Hard Cider Company. They're here in Georgia, obviously. And it's hard cider, but it's pomegranate. So it's like a kind of a refreshing light drink. It's kind of good.
Because it was toasty here today.
Yeah, it was warm. It was kind of one of our warmer, fun days. Going to Casino Guitars again tomorrow. Kind of excited.
All right. We got 25 questions. Stop talking.
Let's do it.
Except Don Trujillo says, I only have a golf with rolly up windows. No Apple setup. Because you said rolly uppy earlier.
Hey, man. He's aspiring to have a Veyron. That's what I'm saying. And he's okay with it. Golfs with roll-up windows are awesome.
Caveat? I don't know if I'm saying that right. You've made me wait since January for my P94s. I'm not upset. P94s? P90s?
Yeah, no, the peanut. See that bobbin right there?
I do.
I think I found a solution for those.
Sweet.
What it is he wanted a cover that we don't normally stock.
Mm.
And then, of course, they were out of stock on them. And I called them, and this is the one. His pickups are the one that inspired the raw nickel set, because they sent me all those raw nickel covers when I was trying to get his. We have one pair of raw nickel DAFs left. In fact, I'll put the raw nickel covers on any humbuckers you want. Just order them today and put a note on it, and I will put the raw nickel covers on any humbucker you want. One set. 50 millimeter.
Sean McMillan, Dylan, I received a package today. Very happy. Thank you.
Excellent. Those were the 3 P90s that were sitting there forever that I was waiting on something else. See, we're trying to work through all this, and I appreciate y'all's patience.
Random Guitar. Good evening, Dylan and Leslie. Love the channel.
Thanks.
Dylan, have you ever considered making Filtertron style pickup?
I've considered it. We've done it, and I stopped doing it because the parts availability was unbelievable. And for me to...
Way back in the day before there was problems.
Yes. And I can get the parts now, but we have to charge $200 each for them, and it just doesn't make sense. And I really hate making them.
Shane West said, do you believe in Bigfoot?
I don't know. Do you?
Bard countered with the more important question being, does Bigfoot believe in us?
That's a really good question.
I was wondering why you asked the question. I didn't even notice your shirt.
I'm
like, why would they ask that
This
question?
is available down below. If you click down below, you can buy this one. This is one of my favorite ideas ever.
Yeah.
So, we'll get on to the next question. But you know the meme of the Bigfoot carrying the Les Paul that's all over the internet? I made that meme. That was me. I did that. And then I was like, wait. And so I used the same exact picture of the Bigfoot to make my own shirt.
Jeffrey Egan said, I never thought I'd buy a real honest-to-God Les Paul, but thanks to sites like Sweetwater with monthly payments, I have a Les Paul standard.
That's pretty awesome, dude. That's awesome. When we moved out of the motorhome, I told myself, I was like, I think once I bought my first Gibson, I was like, Self, I know you have a bunch of guitars around here that are just guitars for projects, but Self, you should buy a few that you really, really want. Because I've never bought guitars for me. I've never bought guitar. I've always bought them for the channel. They've always been like, that Mexican Stratocaster back there, or even the PRS SE. Other guitars, I've always just bought them to do upgrade videos and to talk about our products and that kind of stuff. I'm like, no, I'm going to buy some that I really, really, really want. I haven't even modded anything on the Silver Sky. I just like it.
Yet.
I don't know that I will. It's good.
Windsurf Maui. Part of the expensive guitar thing is people who grew up with guitars at cheaper prices, and now 20 years later, prices are higher, just like the price of a loaf of bread.
Here's the thing, though. This is an interesting... I see what you are saying. However, I will hit you with this. Inflation means that you were getting guitars for the same exact money back then as you're getting them now. The number seems bigger because we are old, and that's what happens because inflation. But you are spending effectively the same amount of dollars. Here's where it's different, though. Back in the day, a $200 guitar was a pile of unplayable crap. Now, you can get a $200 guitar, and it's really good. What me and you did not have when we were kids was quality, actual budget instruments. We did not have that. Cheap guitars were garbage, and you had to get Epiphones and Stratocasters, and at least a Japanese Stratocaster before there were Mexican ones, to be good enough, but they were more expensive. So in reality, you pay less for a guitar now that you can play than you did when we were kids.
You have to read the next question from Douglas Kaufman.
Have you ever played a Babbitt's Telecaster bridge? Any feedback versus a Goto or other qualified Quality bridge. Hashtag sexy Chris.
How'd you say that with a straight face?
I think it's great. We should count them all up, and I'm going to text Matt tonight.
I'm not counting them. You can count them.
I'll count them up later, and we'll see how many sexy
Babbitts,
Chris's we got.
And what's the other word? Goda?
Godo. Yeah. So I am not a fan of the Babbitt's bridge because I do not like the aluminum parts that are in it, and I think it's too fragile. And I also don't like how the string height automatically changes the length of the string because it's on a cam. And it makes it weird to intonate. That is my opinion. And I know that there will be many people that don't care about that. But what I don't like about it is there's this weird cam and it pulls like back and up. It's in this cylinder, and then this cam pulls back and up with the weight of the string on it. And so it's really hard to set up. And I think they're kind of fragile, in my opinion. You can strip out screws really easy. I don't know. And they cost so much that you would think that it would just be like this fail-safe thing. And also, it's solving a problem that no one has. Telecaster bridges are fine. And anybody that doesn't think so is setting their guitar up in the wrong order. Simple as that. It's a problem that doesn't need a solution.
Random guitar. The Gibson Kramer relationship is kind of like the Fender Jackson relationship.
See, that's a great point. Because if you think about it, so now what they're doing is they're expanding audience. So Fender has that real traditional audience. And I've talked to people at Fender and people who used to be at Fender and people who know things about Fender things. And what they've told me is that Fender has really backed themselves into a corner as far as what their brand is good at. Because people that are traditional Fender people don't want humbuckers in a Strat. They don't want shreddy metally stuff in a Strat, right? So that's why they have this relationship. Not that's why, but they use their relationship with Jackson to co-market the shreddy stuff, build their audience wider, and thus build their business. Makes tons of sense.
Al Adolpson, just an old guy. Question: if you're buying guitars in steps, buying and selling your way to an expensive guitar, aren't you paying more in the long run rather than buying what you can't afford and then save up for the better one?
I mean, I don't know that it matters how you get there, because I think, man, obviously you want to be sensitive to people that have a financial situation that they have to fall within, right? But let's face it, this is a hobby. We are not, this is not a necessity. Guitars are not a necessity. And so taking some risks, again, it's all to what you're involved in. It's all into what you're, what kind of personality you have when you spend money and what you do. But you could trade your way up. You could buy and sell. You could finance one. There's lots of different ways to do it. And I think it's just all a matter of our personal risk and what we do. When I buy a guitar, I know my acceptable amount of loss for it. I also know how hard I've turned down, like, I'm going to buy this guitar and we're going to use it on the YouTube channel. But knowing that I sell my guitars to y'all when I'm done.
Y'all?
Yeah. When I sell my guitars to you guys when I'm done, I pick the guitar based on what I think I could sell when I'm done. There's been some guitars that people have wanted me to do stuff on, and I'm like, yeah, but I couldn't sell it. And I'd kind of be stuck with it. And I know how much I want to sell guitars for and how much money I can lose and all that sort of stuff. So you have to learn all that stuff about yourself. But the whole thing's a journey. It's all about creativity and music and learning to play. It's not really about the gear itself. It's about all of those things put together. And it's a journey. So is it going to cost you some money to take that journey? Probably. Are you always going to be smart and get the greatest deal? Probably not. But you just keep learning.
People are arguing with you. They're like, this is not a hobby. It's a religion. Guitars are a necessity for some people. I am one of them. Guitars are not a necessity? Then why do I have so many?
Mm-hmm.
It's an honorable hobby.
It is. I 100% agree. Where I disagree, or where I personally won't go, is I won't go to the guitars are a religion side. Because, well, we don't talk about religion here. Religion is not this. And the reason I say that is because I do not get along with and very rarely become friends with or have long-term relationships with people who put physical items to religious status, because I think it's a kind of a shallow way to think. And so I personally don't do it, and I don't agree with it, so I don't really go there myself. But on the rest of it, I 100% agree, and I could not live without a guitar. So you're right.
Jammin' Shaman. Considering tonewood isn't a thing, you can make a guitar under $1,000 with a decent bridge and tuners sound as good as any expensive guitar by swapping pickups and wiring. Oh, not a question, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to always have the people that say, well, I could buy this X or Y cheap guitar and upgrade it, and it would be just as good as. But honestly, if you put, I mean, lots of people put Corvette motors in Camaros in the 80s, and it was never a Corvette. I mean, there is something about the whole cheap guitar thing, to me, has to do with the aspiration of the thing. I want to dream of something amazing, and I want to make that amazing thing happen. I am not the person to be like, well, it's good enough, so I'll just keep this, and I'm not that person. And I know there are people out there, and I totally respect them for their choice. But my thing is, I always want to be aspiring to something. And that doesn't mean I'm discontent. It just means I always want to be getting better and learning more and doing more stuff. And so I'm going to have a Les Paul one day, like a real one. It's going to be a gold top. Just FYI.
I don't know if this question is for you or what it means. Mr. Goat said, will you please bring a guitar with your stuff for Big John to rip on? I don't know what that means or who that is. Do you know somebody named Big John with no H?
I don't know somebody.
Maybe he was talking to somebody in the comments.
He said something to me the other day in a video or on a Facebook comment about bringing a guitar, but I didn't know what it meant either. So if you want to, Sean,
are we going to see you somewhere?
He's in South Dakota, so I don't know.
I know, but are we?
I don't know. Good question.
Anyway, can you let us know what that means, Mr. Goat? Sorry about that. Bard said, if I had all the money in the world, I would buy a Brad Paisley signature telly in pink.
Bam. See? You know what you want.
Matthew Perkins, just bought my first new Les Paul after trading in a pair of used ones.
Cool.
Silver Bushman, is there room in the pickup business for someone new to build and sell?
Always.
I think
always,
so too.
Always. If anybody ever tells you, honestly, in any business, that the market is saturated,
they scared.
They are scared. They do not know what they're talking about. And what that means is they're too afraid to do something amazing.
Yes.
If you are not too afraid to do something amazing, you go make your spot and you sell your stuff. That's what I did. That's all I did. Everybody told me that. This is the hardest business to get into. It was.
Van Shank Guitars. Thank you for the super chat, Ivan. It's like I want to ride a Harley, but I settle for a Vespa.
Ooh. See, I'd rather have a
He says
Vespa.
Big John at Casino Guitars. Who's John? Big John.
Oh, Jonathan. Oh, yeah, Jonathan.
I call him Big John?
I knew who he
That
meant.
does not fit. Big John.
I'll probably bring... What do I have here? Man, I don't really have... I was thinking about bringing my Gibson because of who else was going to be there, and I want him to play my P90s. Carlos Lopez used to be at the Fender Custom Shop, and he started his own company, and he's there this weekend. And so that's why we're going, because I want to meet him and hang out with him.
You just answered one of the questions that...
Cool.
Who had that question? Aaron Enright said, who's the custom shop builder? So you beat me to that question.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Mr. Goat also said, do you two have any matching tats?
We do not.
We will not.
No.
That's weird.
Well, unless we both get the Wi-Fi password.
They're not going to look the same, though.
No, that's true.
No matchy.
Yeah, no.
No. It just, like, defeats the whole purpose of, like,
Being
the art of tattoos.
And being an individual and, like, the whole reason why you get them.
I would think so, but,
Exactly.
you know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's fine.
Good question. Made me laugh. Jimmy Jam 814. Dylan, thinking of adding a neck humbucker and a telly. It needs routed out. How to determine the best placement? I'm a dummy, by the way.
Here's a way to cheat. Order the pick guard first. Just order a pick guard from somewhere, you know, where the humbucker is there. Slap that sucker on the guitar. Draw a line with a pencil. Boom. Now you know where the pickup goes. That's what I've done in the past. And you can get relatively inexpensive templates for your router on like eBay or whatever, and put it on there. Like, you have to take the neck off and then put it on there after you've traced where the humbucker is going to go, and that'll help you.
Mr. Goat sent us a quote from Girl Cat. It says, if I can't love you, you can't love it. Sanity says so. Girl Cat. Sounds like a poem. I need a Girl Cat poetry book. Everybody knew it was John at Casino. I've never heard him called Big John, and now I can't see him the same.
I know. He is really tall. I don't know if you guys have ever seen, because I'm 5'10". And if you guys have ever seen me in a picture next to him, the dude's wicked tall. And so is, who's the dude that owns the Neon Rooster and is behind the camera all the time? Derek. He's really tall, too. Baxter is not tall.
Yeah. He looks way huger. I like that word. Huger than
big
Baxter.
Guy. He's
and
a
young
big guy.
Sean. Who's Sean?
Sean's the other guy with crazy hair. He's a cool dude, too.
Okay.
Great guitar player.
Is
Holy
he?
smokes, he's a good guitar player, yeah.
Eric Davis said, my ex and I have matching tattoos. Hers is on my forearm. Mine is in my armpit because it was all I had left.
Oh my God. Ow.
That does sound painful.
Yeah, that doesn't sound...
Eric must have a lot of tattoos.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to get it. Oof. Whew.
Anyway.
No.
But also, notice that you said ex. And now you have a permanent reminder of your ex. Like, I'm not saying anything's going to happen, and that's why I'm opposed.
Right. No, I know.
It still is.
It is a weird one, though.
I already have your name, and that's enough of a pain to change if anything happened.
True. And she can't fit it in the little box when she signs a credit card either.
I tried to not change my name, but he wasn't having it.
I think you have to change your name.
It has nothing to do with feminism, by the way. Just saying.
9 letters.
I was done changing my name. That's a whole nother story.
Yes.
Sassy Cat. Dylan, are you aware of the F-Chord trainer on Facebook?
I am not.
Now you are.
I guess so.
I don't know why they asked or told you, but... A.W. Munt Davis. Trying to build a guitar. So far, customizing the machine to do what I want is breaking the bank. How do you suggest, outside of working, saving the money to move to the next level? I mean, are you you like looking to sell drugs? Or
I don't know.
How do you not
I mean, it
work?
depends. I don't know what that means because, yeah, if you're trying to get to a point where you can make multiple ones or whatever, it's probably just going to take some
What
time.
does customizing the machine mean? It means he has some machinery? Or...
Yeah, maybe it means he has a CNC machine or something and he's trying to get it to do what he wants it to do. Yeah.
I mean, aren't there lots of people that can help with stuff like that?
There are.
Like,
and I'm not the person for that.
Like even on like Fiverr, I feel like there's all kind of people that are way more better.
It's as far as like, yeah, managing.
If you needed to learn something or get a template
yeah.
or create something, like is that the barrier? Is just something that somebody else could just whip out?
Maybe.
Anyway, I don't know.
Interesting.
Jimmy Jam 814. Any thoughts on compensated nuts?
Yeah. So, what's it called? What's it called? What is the compensated nut called that I have on my McPherson? It's a Buzz Featon. There is a particular way to set up a guitar that uses a compensated nut. Buzz Featon is the most popular. It seems fine. I don't know. I mean, I've had a couple of Buzz Featon guitars. My V was a Buzz Featon. I've had a couple of things like that, but I don't really understand why you wouldn't just do it the other way. But that being said, I have them done that way, and they work really well.
Eric Davis said, it's in my armpit, so it's perfect.
Oh, my word.
Sorry. I don't know why
amazing.
that is so funny to me. Yeah, sorry. That's really funny.
That is funny.
I feel like I did. Okay.
2 thumbs down. What the heck?
Maybe they don't like armpit tattoos. Sassy Cat, thank you for the super chat. Check out 60 Cycle Hum's latest video to see it. They are talking about the F chord, whatever.
I will do that.
Yeah.
I will do that because Ryan does a good video.
Awesome. Is this live? Lawrence Penny, we are live.
We are live.
All right, let's pop back over into the questions. We just did this one. Alan Phillips, what do you think about the quality of the Warmoth stuff if you wanted to build one?
It's great. It's great stuff, and it's the least amount of headache. The only thing you have to do is go on their website and do all the research and learn their system. So to make sure that you get the right shape neck pocket and the right depth of neck pocket, because they do this weird, it's a couple of mods, whatever that 5/8 mod or whatever it is. Anyway, just make sure that you understand their system so that if you buy one of their bodies and buy one of their necks, that you get the right stuff and it matches together. We actually have a whole thing on our Patreon about a year ago, but it's in the back issues on Patreon about how to select parts for a parts caster. And we go through all the specific things that you would need to know to make sure that you get the right size tuner holes and the right nut and the right, all that stuff. That was one of the things we did a couple years ago or about a year ago on Patreon, but it's still there if you subscribe.
Dennis just pointed out a fact that I think should be a shirt too. And we're live. Because you used to say that all the time. Do you still say that?
I still say it.
Anyway, it just made me think of that because he said it. I was about to read my own comment because there's like a delay.
Oh.
I was going back. Oh, so when we were talking about, A.W. Munt Davis sent clarifying, trying to get the guitar, that's when they talk about the machine, the guitar to do what I want, tonality wise.
Oh, yeah, man.
So how does he do that without breaking the bank, it sounds like? What's the question?
I mean, as much stuff as you can do yourself as far as experimenting with pickups and that sort of stuff, that's going to be the thing. That is going to be the thing. Pickups and wiring, and that's where all the money is. Another super chat.
I'm working on it, babe.
Vinny's World from Hong Kong.
Super chat from Vinny's World. Thank you for the super chat. A bit late for the show. We'll watch the archive. Loving the podcast.
Thanks, man. That podcast has been super fun.
Who's next? Do you have a podcast set up? I do know. Never mind.
Yeah.
We're
So I try to announce these. I haven't edited it yet, so I'm hoping it comes out good because we had to do it a little different. But next Tuesday's podcast, because I do announce these on Thursday, next Tuesday's podcast is Big KO, who is the guitar player and producer for Run DMC. And he's worked with 50 Cent. He's worked with everybody. He's worked with everybody in the hip hop world, a lot of rock people. I think he's doing a project with BB King's granddaughter, whatever. Like, he's doing some really neat stuff. So it's going to be cool. It's a great podcast. He's a great guy too. Really super fun. Yep.
All right. Lantertronics, Aaron Lanterman, and I think he's already gone because he did say bye earlier. I know Dylan isn't fond of the phrase, it's good for the money. But I think properly applied, it's saying, quote, not getting much bang for buck if I spend more money than this.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole, if you apply it properly to the law of diminishing returns, then it makes sense. Yeah, I get that.
Windsurf Maui says, if I had all the money in the world, I'd be living in Paris and collecting Ferraris.
Oh, dude.
It's awesome.
I wouldn't collect Ferraris, but I get it.
Silver Bushman, I just sent 2 Fender Telecasters back and ended up with a PV Reactor. Good guitar.
Cool.
Silver Bushman, what tools do you need to start pickup building, and who's the market?
Well, all of you are the market. Just kidding. Not kidding. Need a pickup winder, a crock pot, a press, a bunch of tools, regular hand tools.
We have videos about this.
Yeah, we have. There are videos on the YouTube channel, and I actually go through every tool that I use.
Yep. And who's the market is up to you. Like,
yeah.
By setting your price point, what need you want to fill, like, you should be able to answer that question yourself. Yep. Like, your favorite pickup is P90 because it's your favorite pickup. And you think you make the best one because that is your favorite pickup. So, like, what's your favorite pickup?
Right. And the one thing I would tell you is look around the internet at other boutique builders. Boutique. Smiling pile of boutique.
Anyway.
And price your stuff properly. If you start a company making pickups and start advertising them for $35 a piece, you are doing nothing but hurting yourself and everyone around you.
And the market.
Yeah. Don't do that crap.
Lawrence Penny said he's building a parts caster. I wish there were diagrams for wiring mods. Don't we have those on Patreon?
We do. There are some. Yeah.
There are some.
When you order pickups from us, I send you a little thing and you can click on it and it comes with all the wiring diagrams. Bam.
Boom. All right. I think I'm caught up still. Mr. Goat says, please post a video on the other channel and tell your funny marriage stories.
The problem is that we're not that exciting. So
or funny.
Or fun. I don't know about that. We think we're funny, but I don't know if the world.
I like to laugh. It doesn't make us funny.
That's true. That's true. And we don't fight or anything, or argue or anything, or have any kind of, like, we've never yelled at each other or anything even in 10 years. So we're not really that exciting. We don't really have remember this one time and we threw a frying pan at each other? Or we don't have any of those, like, reality kind of show kind of stuff at all.
Not one story comes to mind when they're like, tell a story. I'm like, I got nothing.
Nope.
Is that weird? Is that not normal?
I mean, you know why? It's because we're always just like living right now.
Ooh.
I mean, we are.
And what about now?
still. I mean, to this day, like tomorrow, well, after this, after the live stream is over, we're like putting stuff in the van so that we can leave tomorrow on a road trip. And we don't know where we're staying tomorrow night. And we don't know, like we just don't, I don't know.
We should fight about it.
We should fight about it or something, or I don't know.
Anyway, I don't know that we have funny stories.
Yeah. We've talked about it a lot. And we've actually talked about like, oh, we should do a vlog on the other channel. We should like, and then we're like, we're not. I don't know. We just don't. And we don't have any drama, and we don't have, I don't know. It just doesn't, we don't have enough drama to be popular for sure. That's definitely for sure.
Matilda Habardo. Why do my Jazzmaster pickups sound so different than single coils?
Because they are completely a different shape. Where a regular single coil, I believe this is almost a half an inch from here to here. Yours is 1/8 of an inch. And then it makes the coil really wide. That is why they sound different.
Cole Nunn says the empty beer cans reminds me of my ex. Just don't send drunk text.
Yeah. These are not empty beer cans either.
I don't know that he was talking about our empty beer cans.
Oh.
Nor is it beer.
It's not beer.
Caveat. Dylan, I believe your slant 6 pickups are near Filtertron-like tone. Would you agree?
Kind of. Yeah, I would. I think they're kind of more like a wide range, but I see where you're coming from. Yeah, for sure.
Al Adolphson, just an old guy. Can you use lizard spit on maple fretboards? What do you use to clean/moisturize guitars with maple fretboards?
Well, maple fretboards are finished, so you don't really need to use anything on them. You also do not moisturize a guitar with fretboard oil. You clean it. So what you use a fretboard oil for is a solvent that does not hurt the finish and does not hurt the wood. You do not moisturize a fretboard with fretboard oil. Water moisturizes a fretboard. Humidity in your environment is what moisturizes your guitar. Oil is for cleaning.
Oh, my bad. Hang on. I have to come here first. John updated his name. John owned 10. Can't play any Roddy.
Nice.
Roddy. Thank you for the super chat. He says, loving my Dylan Talks tone hats. And can we bring #sexy Chris back up into the conversation?
Oh my God.
It's only funny to bring sexy Chris back up if Chris was here to witness it.
I know.
He said he was like vaguely interested. You definitely have to count now. And you have to let him know there were super chats involved just so we could talk about sexy Chris. So
I will. Yeah.
Anyway, we don't get to like reverse plug a lot. So make sure you pop on to Texas Toast live tomorrow for their reveal
I have an idea.
For #sexy Chris.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
For when we go to Colorado.
Ivan says, sexy Chris, what about #sexy Matt? I was thinking about, what did we watch the other day?
Don't we usually do cutoffs for life with Matt?
Cutoffs for life. But you were watching a video. I mean, obviously we've not seen him. When's the last time we saw him? Has it been 2 years?
Oh, it's been a while.
Anyway, we haven't seen him in a while. And you were watching a video of Matt doing something. And there was like an angle and I was like, his hair is so long. Like it wasn't that long last time I saw him. So he obviously hasn't cut it. And it's
been
like
long. Yeah.
Really long. Anyway. All right. Another question. Matilda Habardo, P90 versus Jazzmaster pickups.
We have a video about that. They're completely different. Nothing is the same about them. And we have a video about it. Different magnets, different dimensions, different everything. Different construction. They are not the same at all. People call them very interchangeably, but they are not the same at all. But I have 2 videos that are very good about that.
So Mr. Goat said he thinks we're funny.
Good. I think I'm funny too.
And Charles says, I find you guys interesting enough to drive 3 hours to meet and have a meal with you guys. Just saying.
Thanks, Charles. I appreciate that.
That is really
That was fun.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Still a tad unbelievable. Like, why would somebody want to do that?
I know.
So,
It was
get a
fun,
little
though.
bit of imposter syndrome. Like, what is happening right now? But we enjoy it every time. Let's see. I've already answered a Filtertron question.
Yep.
Windsurf Maui, recommendations for a solder helping hands with a magnifying glass. Those DPDP switches are just too darn small.
I will make sure that I include that in a video coming up because I need to get a new one, and I will show you which ones to get because there are some crappy ones and there are some pretty cool ones. And Austin at Runway Audio, where we got our cables from, link in the description, discount code, the whole deal. Turn me on to these things, and I have not bought any for myself yet. So I'll get some. We'll do a video about it. Because we do need to do some more soldering stuff. So thank you for the idea. I am writing it down.
Sweet. Rusty says, have you done a video about gold foil pickups?
I have not, because I don't know anything about them. And I was going to cover that with Tim McNally from McNally Pickups. But we got talking about so many other things that I forgot.
Because you did write it down. All right. Johnny Goodwin. How about adding a wraparound bridge to a telly a la Rick Parfit? Neck angle issues? ?
Yeah, you could shim it. It would need to be shimmed about 3 or 4 degrees, which would be something like 3 or 4 degrees. Like an eighth of an inch underneath the heel.
Rob Murrah. Are you going to start building guitars again?
No.
I was like, why is there a pause?
Well, I have some things cooking, but right now I can't. We do not have enough hours in the day. So yeah, I can't.
Jammin' Shaman. Dylan. 1. What are your favorite watches? #dream watches.
Well, my number 1 dream watch at the moment is an Omega Speedmaster. I want one so bad.
What's your favorite current watch?
My favorite daily wear watch, my go-to beater everyday watch, is this Citizen Echo Drive that I've had for probably 5 years, and it has been I beat it up, I smack it against stuff, it's all scratched. I really love it. I have 3 Movados. I like Movado. But I want something properly Swiss. I have some other watches that are Swiss movements, but I want an Omega Speedmaster, and I really, 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 really also would like to have a Rolex Pepsi can. But those would be right there. But Omega Speedmaster. I'm a James, so I have James Bond sunglasses. I do not have James Bond's car. I have worn in the past James Bond suits. I like really, really, really love the whole real life but not really superhero thing. So Batman and James Bond are my two favorite, and so an Omega Speedmaster is. Whew, yes, please.
And 2, have you or the missus ever seen a ghost or UFO?
So ghost, no. UFO, I have seen a lot of crazy. I used to live in Arizona and do a lot of traveling in New Mexico and the Southwest. And at high elevations, you can see a lot of wacky things in the night sky. So I'm not saying I saw a UFO. Now, the big UFO thing that happened in Phoenix, I was around for that. And I did not personally see it, but I have friends who said they saw it in the early 2000s. So I wouldn't say that I could tell you, oh, this one time I saw a thing, but I have seen many crazy things in the sky in Arizona, for sure.
And I've never seen a ghost, but I definitely think I've seen a UFO and have a story to go with.
We have talked about this before. I forgot about that. That's right. I lived 2 miles from the Lowell Observatory in Flagstaff, Arizona. So if I got on my dirt bike like 5 minutes through the woods, I would be at the Lowell Observatory. And the Lowell Observatory was Percival Lowell is the one at that observatory who discovered Pluto. So like we used to get all into night sky stuff in my previous life. That wasn't
Hello.
me. Super chat.
I don't know what that says. EFARJES. Thank you for the super chat. Do you recommend a reverse wound for the middle pickup on a set of 3 P90 pickups?
I do. I do that. We do that. I like to reverse wind every 3 pickup set. Yep. Actually, every 2 pickup set. Yeah, I reverse wind everything.
Cool. So then we were talking about watches. Eric Davis says, I have a Citizen Nighthawk Echo Drive Atomic Time that I love. Lawrence Penny says, got an Echo Drive as my beater watch also. Good watch.
Yeah. It's really good. What is my other watch? Oh, and of course, you've all seen me wear the one that makes me look younger, the Casio G-Shock that I really like. It's clear and yellow. Somebody teased me for, I don't know how young he thinks he is, wearing a Britney Spears shirt and a...
No, they said they couldn't tell how old you were because one reason, and then your watch made you look young or something.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Anyway.
This watch makes me look old.
Jimmy Jam 814. I don't even know how to read this, okay? G&L MDF. Something pickups are amazing. What actually are they? P90 single coil?
We have a video about that too. I filmed it in Salt Lake City at the KOA. And,
random.
Yep, because we had just left Denver, and Ike at the Great American Guitar Store gave me a set. And we did the video about it. They are not like a P90. They're sort of like a cross between a Tele bridge pickup and a P90, if that would make sense. Kind of. They're cool. Weird. They got a copper-plated steel base plate on the bottom, like a Tele pickup.
I feel like we've gotten a lot of personal questions tonight. Random Guitar said, so do you prefer light, medium, or dark roast coffee? I like dark roast. That was what Random Guitar said.
I like dark roast for coffee, and I like lighter roasts for espresso.
Because he's a nerd.
Yep.
I just like whatever he makes.
Well, they probably were seeing, because I bought a Gaggia Classic Pro last week. And
Louis Villarreal. I don't know. I have a made in USA DiMarzio pickup that I received from a friend back in 1983.
Sweet.
It measures 8K ohms. It doesn't have slotted screws for pole pieces. Super distortion, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe. Usually that, yeah, actually.
I don't have anything from 1983 except me.
Except you. My Strat is an 85. I do have one guitar in there that isn't 79. So that might be the oldest
Thing we have.
Yeah.
Interesting. OU812. If you could only pick.
Van Halen reference.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
I just saw OU and I was like, OU. And then I was like, that's probably not what they mean. If you could only pick a single sub 1000 guitar to take with you on a deserted island, what would it be?
Ooh. Sub 1000.
It has to be an acoustic if you
are
like stuck on a deserted island.
Okay, so acoustic guitar would probably be probably one of those Breedloves that's like $8.99.
You're not being very helpful in your stop.
I'm trying to think of what it's called. Like the one with the reclaimed wood and all that. But a Breedlove. That's what I would go for an acoustic. For under 1,000, I'm thinking. For an electric guitar, if the amp and stuff wasn't in the budget. Whew.
Who has a budget to go to a deserted island?
I know. Because you just like end up there, right? Well, if you ended up there and there was already a Princeton and a Tube Screamer.
What would you play?
Honestly, under 1,000 right now, I think the best guitar going for the money.
Ooh. Even though you hate that term?
Mm-hmm. Is the PRS Silver Sky SE. That guitar is so good, y'all. Here's what I will say. I would get that and a Line 6 Catalyst 60 watt, and you would be just over $1,000 for the entire rig, and it would be amazeballs. That's what I would get. I think the Line 6 Catalyst and the PRS Silver Sky SE are the rig of 2022. That is my opinion.
Matilda Habardo. When playing my Strat, I keep getting a popping sound when touching any metal parts. It doesn't happen with any other guitar. Could it be static?
We just had this the other day. This
Not
has come
here,
up. This
right?
has come up in conversation like
Y'all got some dry air and it's cold.
Yeah, 3 times in the last couple weeks. Okay, so first of all, the very first thing I would do is check the humidity in your area. Chances are that your humidity is too low and it is causing static electricity in your room. So get you one of them little, reach down there. There's a magnet. It's magnetized to the leg of the table right here. See it?
Yes.
These are cheap. They're on Amazon. It is 49% humidity in here, which is a little low actually, because we've been running the air more. So I like to keep mine at about 55. But if it gets much lower than about 49, then you'll start to get a bunch of static. Oh, see, now it's up to 50. You'll start to get a bunch of static electricity in the air. So here's what you can do. Take your pick. Well, it's a Strat, so you can't take your pick right off to isolate it. But what I would do is take a dryer sheet, like a bounce sheet, and just rub it all over your pick guard and see if the popping stops.
Why can't it be like Snuggle?
It could, I suppose. It just depends on what scent you want, really.
It's all about the scent.
Yeah.
Dryer
sheet, though. That'll kill that static.
All right.
I told a professional person that the other day, and they laughed at me, and I'm like, try it. I'm telling you.
We haven't heard back either, right?
No, so maybe it fixed it.
Yeah. All right. Don Trujillo. Did you? I'm making up words that aren't there. You ever eat at Mike and Rhonda's in Flag?
Heck yes. Me and my buddy John used to go to breakfast there. Almost.
Is that the iconic place, like you just get what you get place?
No.
Oh, that's a different place?
That is the Hells Angels place. And that place is amazing too. But Mike and Rhonda's had 2 locations, but we went to the one on Route 66, and me and John used to have breakfast almost every morning. This was back when I actually still ate animals, but we would go there almost every morning. Like, I love that place. Yeah, we used to go there all the time. Our food, we'd walk in, and they would see us coming, and by the time we sat down or whatever, they'd just be bringing our food out. That's how often we went there.
Van Shank Guitars. Dylan, would you ever try another underwater tone test with the McPherson?
No. But I have a guitar coming that I might do that with.
Sounds like a bad idea. Jason Albert says, I recommended your pickups to a few people at the Indiana Guitar Show a couple of weeks ago.
Thanks, dude.
That's
I appreciate
awesome,
that.
Jason.
Thank you very much.
Windsurf Maui says, love Casio G-Shocks. There are 3 of them at the bottom of the bay at Kahana Beach when the straps gave out during windsurfing back in the day. Took a beating all day, every day, and never gave me a problem.
Yep.
Mark Hott says, Rolex Pepsi watch is GMT Master 2. It is the one Magnum PI wears. It's the only thing the Tom Selleck kept from the show.
Yep.
That was smart. Sammy, what? Any love for Reverend Guitars?
Very much love for Reverend Guitars. Very much. I love them a lot. And in fact, I've been trying to talk to those. I'm friends with those guys, and we've been trying to figure out how to meet and do a tour and do the whole deal. But it's just with COVID happening, when we were close, we were right there, but then they weren't doing a lot of stuff and letting people in and all that at that time. It was just bad timing. So I'm going to try to get that to work out. That would be awesome.
Don Trujillo says, biscuits and gravy at the OG location.
That's for real, though. That's for real. Oh, my other watch that I'd like to have a Tag Heuer, too. I'd like to have a Tag Heuer.
All right. It is 9:30. We are caught up on all the comments. Unless you have any super chats or I missed any questions that you want to resend to me. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about how the humidity is high here in the summer too, so we get it. They're in Miami.
We're in this weird spot right now where it's still dry from the winter, but the heat starts to come. Like, it was 80-something degrees today, so then you run your air, and the air dehydrates the air. But we just had heat on like 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? It's this, we're in this weird spot where it's kind of harder to regulate it. But in the summertime, we will have to run the air just to keep the humidity down.
Yep.
Yep.
Skyhawk Delta says, would you recommend a humidifier for a Phoenix resident or just let the guitar acclimate to the dry environment?
I'd get a humidifier. I used to live in Arizona for a long
for your
time.
Own...
Yeah. Yeah, you don't even like going there. She's like, my face is falling off.
Yeah. I need humidity.
Yeah.
My body needs humidity.
I get it.
Awesome. Well,
this is fun. Thanks for all the off-topic questions, too. Those are fun sometimes. Well, all the time. I like them. Off-topic. Well, yeah, because it's fun just to hang out, too. You know, we talk about guitars all the time, but which is why we're here, I guess. But it's fun to talk about all this other stuff, too. I like it. It's really fun, especially when it's watches or knives or, you know, because knives are a thing, too.
So not the marriage questions. It's the ones about knives. Just so we're clear.
Yes.
I thought it was the hanging out part. And you're like, I want to talk about watches.
We just don't have anything exciting to tell them about marriage stuff.
Watches weren't all that exciting.
No, they are to me, I guess. I mean, Yeah.
Are you saying marriage isn't exciting?
Oh, it's really exciting. I think it's fun. I think it's really fun. But I will say, oh no. It was a subject change kind of thing. Pivot. But now I forgot what I was gonna say.
Nice.
Anyway, whatever.
Lewis says, Dylan, what do you think about guitarists such as Phil X who leave our neck pickups because of the magnetic force preventing sustain?
I think they can believe what they want and have the opinion that they want, but they're wrong.
Adrian Smith says, love the new format, D. Keep the rock alive. I tried to send a super chat, but it would not remember my password. It actually asks.
Well, thank you for thinking of me. That's awesome. I appreciate it. No, I know what I was going to say. The big revelation that we always have in our marriage talk is you let me buy whatever guitars I want. And guitar gear and stuff.
That's our marriage talk?
Well, for most people, yeah. Because I'm in a very rare situation where I'm just like, hey, I bought a guitar. And you're like, I don't have to sneak it into the house or do any of those weird...
Yeah, but only very recently you have... I have a guitar on the way. Not like I'm looking at this, I'm thinking about this. It's already done.
Oh,
so
yeah.
There has been a shift.
So I'll tell you why. Because the one conversation we do have about guitars... Oh, we have a super chat.
It's from Doc. I feel like there's a last name there. I don't know what his last name actually is. Thank you for the super chat, Doc. He said, great marriages are rare. Be proud.
They are, and they are fun. What I was going to say is...
It's like moving on.
Yeah, they are fun. What I was going to say is, did we...
Bring it back to me.
Well, no. It's the one question she asks, always, anytime I spend money on anything, is, what is it for? Like, and if I say I have an idea for the reason I want to get it is because this is a really popular guitar right now, like the purple one. The purple one is an excellent example. I did not tell her that I was going to buy it. And I did buy it with my own money. It was not a sponsored video. So I spent $1,000 on a guitar and did not tell her because I already knew the answer to the question. Because her question is, what's it going to be?
So you're saying I've trained you.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, what's it going to be used for? You know, is it going to serve what we want to do? The reason I don't own... PRSs are an excellent example. The reason I never had a PRS is not because I don't like them. It's because there's nothing to do to them. They're perfect. There's no modding to do. There's no, you don't have to fix any problems. There's no reason to put pickups in them. There's no reason for me to get it for the channel because it doesn't turn into a 5-video series that makes sense. What tipped the scales on the PRS this year, and the reason I bought the pink one, the core one, is because I knew that the SE was coming out and I wanted to have that guitar for a comparison. And I also knew that we were going to come up with upgrades for the PRS SE, but I wanted to be able to compare what I was doing to the core one to make sure that I wasn't off track. So that guitar then all of a sudden it had a purpose and I bought it. It's also kind of the reason I don't have a Les Paul right now, because it's not as important to what we're doing right now to spend that $2,600. Like, it's just not. We have other things, like buying this guitar, the purple one, was more constructive to the channel than buying a Les Paul would be. Because I have a plan with FU Tone to do some stuff. I know that the coil splitting in that pickup sucks, so we have a solution for that. There's all kinds of reasons to buy that guitar, so that's why I bought it. And I already knew the answer to the questions that she was going to ask about that, so I just did it.
I don't even ask questions, Joe.
She doesn't. She's the one who told me to buy a Kemper back in the day. Like, this is fun.
That's what makes it fun.
You do give me a little more these days. these days, when we buy camera stuff, like a lot of times you'll be like, do you really need this new lens? And I'm like, well, I guess I'm kind of getting along without it, so I don't. But so there are some things where I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'll use that money to buy a guitar instead.
All right, 3 more questions came in while we were rambling. Rad Flying V says, do you have a V?
I do not currently have a V, and I am working on a project to acquire a V.
OU812 says, so, you got any Bark River knives?
I do not have any Bark River knives. I have Benchmade, Zero Tolerance. This is a Civivi. I have Kershaw. I have another Kershaw. Yeah, I have a German Boker. I've got some cool knives, but no, I do not have any Bark Rivers.
Good Ear says, why do 3rd strings sound so horrible when played open and they don't intonate well?
I think that's more of a setup thing. People fight the G string a lot, and I don't know why. It's always been a thing that I've never understood because I don't feel like I fight it. And I don't know that I'm necessarily doing... That's not to say I'm better than anybody. I just don't know that I'm doing anything different. I don't really know why people fight it so much. That is a really good question that I don't have an answer for.
Jammin' Shaman says, you guys are soulmates. And Dawn Trujillo says, she takes your edge off in a good way. Do you have an edge? Don't push me.
Right here.
Oh.
To the edge. Yeah.
Anyway, do you still have that Jackson V?
Oh. I do.
You shouldn't.
No, I shouldn't.
You had a purpose for it.
I do. So the Jackson V, I do have it.
Don't say it out loud because you didn't tell anybody.
No, I do have it, but we need to, okay. I need to go get that out of the storage and we need to finish that project and do the videos and stuff. That V is going somewhere. I have an idea for that V, but I just have not done it yet.
It'll be a fun one though.
Yes. It's in storage. I forgot all about it.
Jimmy Jam 814 says, I know nothing about knives, but maybe check out Coke Tools Super Red Knives.
Oh yeah. Yep. Awesome. You guys, this has been so fun. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. And there is a video on Saturday at 9 o'clock in the morning because I'm trying these Saturday videos and I think they're going to work. And it is about the Kramer.
Sweet.
Right there. Like an actual demo sound.
We are going to North Carolina tomorrow.
Yep. I'm going to go hang out with Casino Guitars and Carlos Lopez from Castadosa Guitars. I think that's the name of his new company.
What does that word mean?
I don't know. He just left the Fender Custom Shop not long ago and he started his own company and he's made some baritones that are very, very cool. I've already played one of them. I'm about to see the other ones too, so that's going to be pretty awesome. So we're going to do that.
I'm going to squeeze some content in, or?
I'm hoping so. What I'm really hoping is that we're all going to sit and shoot a podcast that then they will air on their channel and I will air on mine. And we'll just do one so that it's easier than doing a bunch of them. And then we'll do a bunch of video stuff and demo some guitars and all that.